But what can we do as grandmothers to balance the mental load for ourselves?
Okay, once again, wonderful question, Laura. Thank you. So I want to share with your listeners a negative and a positive about the really Herculean load that grandmothers bear, much more than grandfathers. Okay. So first of all, let's start with the negative. We usually like to start with the positive, but here the negative is so much more obvious. So actually, it's not true that this is getting a lot better. Let's first look at that. So a Pew Research Center study with American couples, married couples, what they did was it was a time use study. So they looked at how much time the wife versus the husband was spending on different kinds of activities. And so they looked at housework and childcare as two of these activities. So housework and childcare is like the explicit cognitive load of caretaking, right? So this is not the invisible one. So the invisible, we'll get to that in a moment, but the visible, explicit cognitive load, housework and childcare, what they found is that if you take a fully employed woman and her unemployed husband, he's not working at all. She's out at work all day. He's unemployed at home. So the first question is, well, is he doing more housework and childcare than she is? So actually he is 6 hours more per week. So he's at home all day. She's at work all day. He's doing 6 hours more of housework and childcare combined than she is. Now let's switch roles. Now we've got a fully employed husband and an unemployed wife. Well, how many more hours of housework and childcare is she doing per week? 46 hours more per week. This is a 750% difference.
Mm-hmm.
So we are not out of the dark ages whatsoever of gender discrimination, of gender inequality. It's still just as it always was. I think we just now, because of all the news about, and the interest in like gender fluidity and it's really common in our discussions. But if you actually look at who's doing the work, it's still almost all of it is in the home is done by women. So that's the visible cognitive load. The invisible cognitive load is not even counted there. That's like the mental load of keeping track of doctor's appointments and making sure the kids have food before they go to school, play dates, sports events, all the other, making sure that they have clothes to wear. All of this is almost all done by women. So this creates a lot of resentment. And I think one of the first things men need to do is to step up in terms of both the visible and the invisible cognitive load. But before we go there, let's talk about the positive side of this. So is there anything good in this for grandmothers? Right? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, let's look at Antonella's research on social convoys. As your listeners, as you guys all know, a convoy is like a group of vehicles traveling together, right? Mm-hmm. That's a physical convoy. A social convoy is the close relationships that travel with you through life. Okay, so social convoy is a wonderful thing to have. If you have a strong, robust, meaningful social convoy, you have a group of people who count on you and who depend on you and who care about you. They care where you are. We all want people to care where we are. That's one of the greatest ways to kind of keep loneliness at bay. Well, so if we look at this, women's social convoys blow men's social convoys out of the water. That's why you have these deaths of despair. That's why you have this astronomical levels of loneliness for older men, but not older women, right? So we're seeing a situation where even, for example, let's suppose that a couple gets divorced. Let's look at the social convoys of the children as the children become adults, right? And the couple becomes grandparents. Okay, women are almost always a very strong presence in the social convoys of their adult children. Men, it's hit or miss. After divorce, sometimes they're still in the social convoys, sometimes they're not. Mm-hmm. Let's look at also like how women develop relationships versus men.